You're listening to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
It only takes one step, twist, or crunch to know something doesn't feel right. Essentia Health's orthopedic and sports medicine team gets you back to doing what you love with commitment, resilience, intention. We're here to keep you moving forward. Visit essentiahealth.org to learn more about orthopedics and sports medicine, like nowhere else.
Hello and welcome to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health. I'm Matt Wellens, the Bulldogs hockey beat writer at the Duluth News Tribune and the Rink Live.
And I'm Zach Schneider, the television voice of UMD Hockey and My Nine Sports.
Joining this week from the red-hot UMD women's hockey program, winners of 4 straight to start the new year, we got a couple of fifth-year seniors with us. We have with us the leading goal scorer, a winger from Lino Lakes, 13 goals on the year, Anneke Linser. Anneke, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Also joining us is the most versatile player in the UMD lineup. She can play D, wing, center. I'm still holding out hope that she will play in goal at some point this year. That's probably not a good thing if they have to throw her in goal, or the game has just gotten completely out of hand. From Minnetonka, Kylie Hanley. Hi, Kylie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Kylie, when are we going to see you in goal? When is this happening?
I'd like to see that.
You're also in the camp, Anneke?
Yeah.
You want to see Kylie play goal? I'd have to
just
be
for fun.
The first Bulldog to play like all the positions. Have you done it in practice? Could we see it in practice? Because I think we saw Jiggy dabble with goaltender at the Frozen Four last year. We have some random pictures of her in like random goalie equipment. I don't know what was going on, but Clint got photos of her to practice with at least a goalie glove or something.
I played goalie a little bit, like for fun in high school, mini mites obviously, but never here at UMD. I don't think my body would be able to handle it now.
Kylie, you're back at center now. I won't spend the entire podcast lobbying for Kylie to play goalie here. But you're back at center now. Why is that the best position for you out of everything you played? What do you like about it? What do you feel about your game makes center that right spot?
I love just being in the middle. I love being able to go all over the ice, using my speed through the middle of the ice, and just being good support for my teammates too, I think, is super important.
Wing, defense, how different are those two positions when you've been thrown in there?
Defense, you definitely have to be more patient. I like to skate fast up the ice. Like I definitely couldn't do that last year as a defense. And defense, you see the ice more. Like it's all in front of you. It's a lot more to see. I think forwards, you have to have your head on a swivel more. Wingers especially get caught on the walls a lot. I give them a lot of credit because that's the tough position on the walls. So being able to be in the middle is a lot of fun.
Maura Kroll has told us in the past that she puts a lot of pressure on her centers, that you have a lot of responsibilities offensively and defensively in the transition, the breakouts, that kind of thing. Do you prefer playing center even with all that responsibility? You just said sometimes the wingers get in those battles that we see, and it's nice, to just kind of stay at the middle of the ice, I imagine, and wait for the puck to pop free, but you've got a lot of other things to keep track of throughout a game.
Yeah. I love center. I've played it my whole life. I played it through high school, and now to play it at the college level it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely a pace change from high school to college, but I think I would definitely take it over being a winger for sure.
I think we've heard Naomi Rogie say that on here before. She's also not a huge fan of I think the same thing. She likes that center and the openness.
Yep.
We've heard Ashton talk about that, about her move to defender. She loves how much of the ice you can see out there. I'm wondering, though, when you're out there with Rogie, is there some interchangeability? Like, does that create a different dynamic on that line? Because she is a natural center, but, they've been putting her on the wing for the last couple of years here?
Yeah, I think Rogie and I read off of each other really well. And if she's the first one back, like, I know she'll play center for me and I'll take her spot on the wing. And then when the time is right, we'll switch it back. But I think, it's a lot of fun to play with her because we can interchange our roles a lot.
Anneke, does that kind of happen on every line? There's these defined positions for you guys, but in Coach Kroll's system, your position is almost determined a little bit on, and we see this a lot of hockey teams, who gets into that zone first, right?
Yeah. Like if you're in the play, then you stay in the play. If you're the first one back, you play center, and make sure you talk with your line mates like, hey, I got center, you play wing, for sure. Yeah, I would say it doesn't happen too often, but it happens, and you got to be ready for it.
So what do you like about wing, Ani? Is it you do like the battles along the wall?
Yeah, I like wing a lot. And like Kylie said, like I played wing my whole life, so I love it. And yeah, I mean, we have multiple jobs, but our main focus is to block shots from the D and get the pucks out and support. So yeah, I love it. It's fun.
When you do have to make a switch and you're the first player back in a defensive zone and you get into a corner, I mean, it's different with Naomi Rogie and Kylie, I would imagine, because Naomi is more of a natural center, has played that position more. Are you looking for like the first opportunity to switch back with Gabby and just let her get back in that role?
I mean, it's kind of fun because you get to be physical with it in the D zone, especially as a center to help the D out. But then if the puck's not getting out, I'm like, yeah, Gabs, get back here, please. I'll go back to my spot. But yeah.
There's 10 or 11 either seniors or fifth-year seniors. I forget the exact number on this year's team. How much does that experience help? You go back to like your freshman, sophomore year and some of those switches and the communication that needs to happen. How much easier is it having played with these 10, 11 teammates for that long and just having that much experience yourself in college hockey? Is it easier this year just having the large group of you that is used to Coach Kroll's system?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it makes us a lot more adaptable and we're just kind of ready for anything. And like when you're down a goal, we've been there before and we know what to do.
What's the adjustment like for a young player coming out of high school into college to a system where you have to play multiple roles? Maybe not where you're playing offense and defense like Kylie and Ashton have, but a center isn't just a center, a wing isn't just a wing. You're doing multiple different things. You're switching positions and such. What was that adjustment like for the two of you coming from high school to college?
I feel like the biggest change is the speed of the game and just having to make those decisions quicker. But like you said, like a center is not just a center. I think a lot in high school we're like O-zone, but in college it starts in the D zone, taking pride in that. And, centers have to do a lot. They have a lot of responsibility in the D zone for sure. So I think that's a big adjustment for like centers especially.
Yeah. I think as a team, we really take pride in the D zone. That's a big thing for us. But yeah, I think the pace of the game from high school to college is probably the biggest change that we had to adjust to.
One thing we haven't talked about for centers yet here is face-offs. And obviously wingers and defensemen have a role in that as well, but a lot of it starts with the centers. And the women's game, puck possession is even more important, I feel like, than on the men's side, because without the physicality, the checking, it's really hard to get the puck back sometimes. And you're now a team that if you have the puck, you're dangerous. So as a centerman, how much importance do you put on face-offs? Like how often do you practice that throughout the week as a group? How often do you study film of the other teams? Because it feels like when you can be a good face-off team, then you put yourself in a really good position to win that game. Yeah,
100%. Face-offs are huge for us and for possession. I think we try and practice them. There's sometimes a group that goes out, stays after practice once a week at least, and then depending on who we're playing, we'll watch film or just our coach Shu will give us some tips on how to win draws for the weekend.
That's become, we've known for a long time about power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5 situations that you watch film all the time and pick up on tendencies. But face-offs, it feels like maybe over the last 10 years has become like this specialized game within the game. So when you are matched up against the other team's center for any particular face-off, do you feel like you know what they're going to be trying to do based on that week's of study, and all the film that's available to you now, versus maybe even when you started, this wasn't as big a conversation as specialized as it is now?
Yeah, for sure. I think I definitely look at their foot placement and see where they put their stick down. And typically if I'm in the D zone, I can read if they're trying to tap it forward or if they want to pull it back. But obviously we try and run our face-offs as much as we can. So yeah, I think it's fun, and the wingers have a really big part in that too.
You had a face-off play this past weekend against Bemidji State. I think it was in game 2.
The power play?
Yeah.
That was so sick.
Almost resulted in a goal. It was tic-tac-toe right off the face-off, and I can't remember who it was, but one of the defensemen went to the back post. And so, for a hockey team, you don't get the chance to run set plays all that often. When a face-off play like that works or almost works, I mean, how how big a thrill is that? Because it's one of the few times that we're like, oh, that's what we were trying to do, and everybody knew that, it almost worked.
Yeah, it's so exciting to see those things happen. We practice them every week, like multiple times a week, and so to see it actually being pulled off is super cool.
It's one of the few times, I mean, obviously you guys make creative plays that, are tape to tape, but they're kind of within the flow of the game. But face-offs feel like that one time when it's like running a football play almost, when the X's and O's go to the right spots, and it's got to be kind of fun when one of those works out.
Yeah, it's super fun. And it's kind of funny, like I just am remembering when I was a kid and our coach would always say like games can be won and lost off of face-offs. Like they're so important if you're not defending their face-off play the right way too.
Ani, I mean, no offense here, but at the start of the season, if we said a native of Lionel Lakes out of Centennial was leading the team at goals, it wouldn't have been you that come to mind. Everyone would have instantly went to Gabby Hughes. But you've been, I mean, I know you've attributed a lot of the scoring success to your teammates, but you've been popping them in here to especially to start the second half. I'm trying to remember what Kelly wrote over the weekend. 8 points here now, I think, in the first 4 games. 5 goals in 4 games here now, something like that. You had 3 against Bemidji, the 13 on the season now. Coach, you've credited your teammates, but Coach Kroll keeps bringing up the work you did in the offseason prior to this year. Take us through what your offseason was like. What did you do to prepare for this final year that's put you in just a phenomenal position to score and score some nice goals too?
I feel like it started back when, we kind of didn't have a trainer for a little bit, and Ashton had her workouts for us with her Canadian trainer, and that's where it kind of started. And then I was doing those, and I remember when Jeremy got into town and he had me doing 3 lifts a week. So I'd have an internship. I'd go work out on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I'd go to work, and then once a week do a speed workout, and then on Monday and Wednesday I would skate in the morning before work. So yeah, I think a big thing was having Jeremy there with me during the workouts, because I was working out at 6 a.m. And so just having him there to motivate me, look at my form. He could tell when I was too tired and maybe I need to take more time off, and he really pushed recovery and rest. Whereas in the past, I think I've just probably overdone it in terms of working out and stuff. So I think that was a huge thing for me, was just recovering my body and not doing more than I have to, but making sure I'm ready to come in.
So you stayed here all summer. What was your internship with?
I worked for American Engineering Testing, so it's a materials testing company or engineering firm, I guess.
What's your major?
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering. Mm-hmm. That's a tough major. I'm going to put that in the smart major category there. Was that was this the first summer you got to spend in Duluth trading and working at UMD, or what were your summers like before?
Yeah, going into my sophomore year, I spent most of the time in Duluth, and I went home for a little bit. But I would just say, I've spent since then every summer in Duluth. And I just think the change up with the workouts and, being more explosive and dynamic rather than just building muscle, because I've been pretty strong, all along, but just focusing on that speed and quickness and explosiveness is a huge thing for sure.
So that's where the explosiveness, that's where you think your game has benefited the most. And I thought it was interesting you brought up the rest and recovery. That was an important part of your summer training, you feel too, huh?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. Jeremy's take this week off before we come in, because it's going to be a long season. And for me, it's really hard to just not do something. I went on vacation before the season and I was trying so hard. It's okay, I can't go for a run or work out. I need to rest, recover, roll, stretch, go for walks. It was it takes a lot of discipline for me to have to do that, but it benefited me a lot.
Has that load management translated now into the season with the group that you have? Coach Kroll and I have talked throughout the year that, when Anna Klein and Elizabeth Shiger are not here anymore on that top line, and you're not getting the 120 points or whatever those 3 put up collectively last year, that you're relying more on your depth this year offensively and throughout the game, whether it's in a penalty kill situation, late in the game situation. It feels like you're able to play your full complement of lines and all your D in whatever situation. So it feels like even throughout a game or a weekend or a season that you're all getting a little bit more rest and recovery time throughout a game situation as well because of the depth that you have now.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say so. I mean, it's really nice that we can spot people in, you know, and give us a rest on a shift and stuff like that. And I think Jeremy's really good at like just talking to us on how we're feeling and making sure that we're doing the right things. And like if you have injuries or if something is bothering you, like he's really good about changing stuff up for you. So I think that's a huge part of it too.
Kylie, are you noticing the rest and recovery? Is that a big part of your game and preparation as well now too?
Yeah, 100%. I think especially at this time in the season, it's really important that we are talking about recovery and doing the things after practice every day. If you need treatments, you go see our trainers. You talk to Jeremy, making sure that your workouts are how they should be, making you feel good. And yeah, we're not really focusing on the strength component as much, just making sure that we're maintaining it and we're feeling good for our games on the weekends.
Especially, I was just going to say, especially at our age, like a lot of us are older and you really start to feel it. You know, you can't just hop on the ice without a warm up. So I think that's like a huge part for our group too.
I wasn't going to bring up the age thing just because you're all in your, well, I guess some of you are almost actually approaching your mid 20s now, but still way younger than Zach and I. I wish I had the energy of my mid 20s yet.
Yeah, well, I wasn't in that good a shape in my mid-20s as they are either. So I was going to say wait till your 30s, but, you know, you'll probably be way ahead come your mid-30s anyway. So.
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more with Anneke Linser and Kylie Hanley. You're listening to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
Hey there, my name is Wyatt Buckner, and I'm the host of the Duluth News Tribune Minute Podcast. Hear the most important news of the day, including weather and sports from Duluth, Minnesota, and from around the Northland. Join me and my fellow reporters as we take you through the local news you need to start your day. Episodes are released Monday through Friday and are available on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for supporting local journalism.
Hi, I'm Maria Lockwood, a reporter with the Superior Telegram. Explore Superior and Douglas County history with me on Archive Dive, a monthly podcast available at superiortelegram.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health, Orthopedics, and Sports Medicine. They're proud to be the team physicians for the UMD Bulldogs and provide sports medicine care to more than 25,000 student athletes in the community to ensure they can compete at the highest level while protecting their long-term health and athletic futures. Thanks to Essentia Health for their support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast. I'm Matt Wellens, joined by my co-host Zach Schneider and our guests, fifth-year seniors Anneke Linser and Kylie Hanley. The 2023 NCAA Women's Frozen Four is coming to Duluth, Amsoil Arena in March, the 17th through the 19th. We don't know if the Bulldogs are going to be there or not yet, but you're on a pretty good pace right now, sitting 7th in the pairwise. 4 big wins to start 2023 here. I know as players, and I think you guys have done a really good job of this throughout the year, not making this about, hosting a Frozen Four and everything. I know as players, you don't want to start looking that far ahead, but I would like to talk to you about the Frozen Four as hockey fans. And I'm actually going to be starting up. I'm working on a fan guide, and I'm going to double dip here. We're going to use the podcast to start working on a fan guide for people coming to Duluth. First time I think since 2012, I've had the Frozen Four here in Duluth, which seems way too long to not have that event back here. So for fans, let's start off with this from both of you. For fans, what makes Duluth such an awesome site for a Frozen Four? You guys have been to 2 now. Granted, they've been during pandemics. I almost throw Erie out the window. But what do you think makes this such a great site for the Frozen Four? Ani, I'll start with you.
I feel like people just have a lot of love for the game around here, and they come out to support us. And even, Sods and I talked about this last week. Even if people aren't there, they're watching. You know, we have fans all over the world, and just support. You know, you get lots of texts after wins and those tweets and everything. Like, it's just a huge net of support.
Kylie, what do you think it is that makes Duluth and Amsoil a good site for this event for fans?
I think, the community is great. I also just think having like Canal Park right there with the Lake Superior, it's super cool for everyone coming to see. You can go for hikes between games or go do a little shopping, like go out to eat. There's lots to do around here.
I'm glad you brought up all that, Kylie, because I'm I want to get your guys' recommendations. You're the first two that get to throw the recommendations out here. I'm going to try and hit up a lot of the veterans, and there's plenty of them. Zach and I could give our recommendations, but we're kind of older, and we haven't lived the college life here and everything. And in Duluth, like you all have. Let's start with restaurants, a lunch or dinner spot. What would you recommend fans hit up while they're in Duluth for the Frozen Four? Kylie?
I would say if you're looking for Mexican, Little Angie's in Canal or Lindo's in Fickers is super good. I also really like Va Bene for pasta.
Ani, what are your recommendations for fans?
I feel like you can't go wrong with Duluth Grill for sure. And then there's a little restaurant up near campus called Vanilla Bean, and I feel like that is just underrated. It's really good.
That's a good spot. Got that up in Two Harbors where I'm living now. Breakfast spot. What's your go-to breakfast spot? Is it Vanilla Bean?
I like Vanilla Bean. I would also say Uncle Louie's. That place gets packed and it's really good.
Yeah, Uncle Louie's, Sarah's Table.
Oh, Sarah's Table.
Or Duluth Grill also. They have really good breakfast burritos.
Just be prepared to wait probably a little bit.
Yeah.
You're going to want to give yourself some time at the
For sure.
breakfast spots. Best place to get a good cup of coffee.
Duluth Coffee Company. Or,
not to be, obviously there's Caribou and Starbucks, but I'm trying to think of, something a little more
Is there a
unique.
coffee house that, I know you have a couple teammates that are like exploring every coffee house in Duluth, I noticed on Instagram.
Yeah, there's like Dovetail just down by OMC, I think. And then Amazing Grace Cafe, girls have gone to. Yellow Bike, which is over more by the Miller Hill. It's more by like Menards, I think. Like
I think
on
that's out in
53.
Hermantown.
Yeah,
there.
that's a little far.
They got one in the Hermantown
But there's a
Y,
lot
too.
of different.
like 190 too.
Oh, yeah, 190. That's a nice place, too.
What's a good place to get a drink after a game? A good post-game place to gather and celebrate a win?
I love going to the Tav.
Yeah, Tav or Blackwoods. I feel like people like to go to Fickers. They have that brew house. There's also the boat club down there.
I'm just a huge Tav fan.
You're a big Tavern on the Hill fan?
Yeah,
Tav
they
is
have
really
this
good.
like ahi tuna bowl, or it's a rice bowl with ahi tuna. I get that every time.
It's an off day at the Frozen Four. First off, I love that you guys have like thrown out already recommendations, not just in the little Canal Park area or even Lincoln Park. You're getting people all over Duluth and Hermantown, the area here. So it's a day off at the Frozen Four in between the semifinals and championship. Let's start with a recommendation of something to do or see inside the city. What would you recommend?
I think a good lake walk. Just walking down to Canal and to the lighthouse would be really nice. Seeing the ice. Sometimes the waves are going crazy in the winter, especially.
I hope there's no ice
I think
still
it'll
in
be
March,
fine.
but there could be
I
ice
suppose
in
that's
March.
pretty far away.
We've had ice in Memorial Day weekend before, so
But yeah, I think that would be a nice time.
Yeah, definitely spending time in Canal, or you could take a drive down Park Point. Just see the beach down there.
probably not going to be beach weather in,
Yeah,
in March.
probably not.
Swimming weather. A recommendation for someone who wants to get out of the city. Where would they go? What would they do? What do you got a recommendation maybe outside the city? Getting away from the hustle and bustle and such, away from Canal Park.
If they don't mind to drive just anywhere up the North Shore, there's plenty of good hiking spots. One of my favorite is Temperance River. I feel like that's like an hour, but it doesn't feel too long on the North Shore drive. There's not a lot of traffic usually, but there's so many good hiking spots. Palisade Head, or even if you don't want to go too far, Gooseberry.
Yeah, I agree. Any hikes up the North Shore, head to Two Harbors. They have restaurants there and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
Zach?
Castle Danger's up there.
Castle
Pines.
Danger.
Go
Yep.
play some cards.
It's
at
worth
Castle
going
Danger.
north for sure.
Yeah.
How much different would a Frozen Four feel in Duluth versus the last couple where you've been somewhere new and, it's kind of exciting to get out of town as a group and go there. But I mean, obviously it would be exciting in different ways to play in this tournament here in Duluth and in your home rink. But how much different do you think it would feel playing a Frozen Four in your city versus the last two that you've attended as a team?
Yeah, I mean, there's no place like home. I think we would just thrive like with the community behind us, being able to be like at our home ice and knowing everything about it, being at our houses and all of that stuff.
Sleeping in our own beds. Yep. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people, like when you go out east for those trips, not everyone can make the plane trip. And so I feel like a lot of our hometown fans and even family members are going to be able to come. So that'll be super cool.
Is that maybe the most exciting thing about this upcoming Frozen Four? Because Erie, no one could be there because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
The next one at Penn State, that is not an easy place to get into. You guys were fortunate enough to have a charter flight into cool. there. The rest of us were flying into Pittsburgh or Philly, and I knew there were some fans that had to stay in Pittsburgh. They couldn't even stay there and by Penn State. Is that like the most exciting thing about this Frozen Four, that it's one that all your friends and family can actually go to?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, last year only my parents got to come, but I think it'd be so cool just to have my siblings there. And just, even more people. Like, I'm sure family members will make the trip. It's not too far.
For sure. Family, extended family, friends from all over. Yeah.
We talked with the men's team about this phenomenon, I guess, in the string of their Frozen Fours. And if you're able to get back this year, they make 3 straight Frozen Fours. You're in the title game last year. Now, most of this group has been there, experienced it, not going to be necessarily blinded by the lights when you get into a Frozen Four type setting, even if it's at home and a little bit more comfortable for you this year. But what's that feeling like when you get there and there's so much to do, whether it's media, whether it's meeting with the fans, practice, video for your own team, rest, just trying to experience it all? Is it easier now that you've done it a couple times? And was that second time even easier than the first for you as a group to say, like, hey, we know what to expect now, even though that first one was in a pandemic and undoubtedly a little bit different? Did you feel that progression as a team as you've gone through these past couple of years?
I would say so, I think. And last year was just like even more fun because there was just like more offered to us. We got to play like some fun games with like a nice lunch that they put on for us, and just like feeling more, confident in our play too, and just like being able to enjoy that stuff more and not being so stressed. I feel like just the experience of that, like high pressure, we've gotten used to that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, especially from the first year to the second year, there was a big improvement. It could have just been because of the pandemic, obviously, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what is all put on, and hopefully we'll be there too, and it's going to be so fun.
One thing coaches say, or at least your two coaches, Maura Kroll and Scott Sandlin on the men's side, have said about their teams when they get to that Frozen Four is, well, I hope the group enjoys it and takes time to stop and look around and enjoy where they are and what they've done. And obviously we hope to win 2 games and come back with a trophy, but I hope that they stop to enjoy it. It feels a lot like what your group has been able to do so far this season. And even though we keep talking about the potential of you playing in this Frozen Four at Amsoil Arena, it feels like this group has really enjoyed this season and been present. Has that translated now, being an older group and having been through some high pressure situations, to just letting the season not be all about getting to that end goal of being in that Frozen Four? Yeah,
I think we focus on the process like the entire year. Coach always tells us, stay in the moment, like focus it, take it one shift at a time, one game at a time. We only focus on the weekend ahead. And I think that's super important, just to just staying in the moment is just so important for us.
Yeah. And I'll talk about age again. We're an older group, and so just like realizing that it goes by so fast, and just telling those younger kids like, hey, soak this in, because these are the best moments of your life. So yeah, just knowing that and staying present is huge, I think.
Veteran group.
Yes.
There's the
veteran. We're not old. We're young still.
Experienced.
We're vets and experienced. Yes.
All right. Last question I want to close this podcast with, this episode this week, is a question I like asking the seniors. And it's a little more difficult question because of your veteran status and experience. Yes. As you guys are approaching the close of your college careers, you still got 5 weeks or so here in the regular season, but we're going to start rotating as many seniors as we can through on the podcast here. What do you remember about your first day as a Bulldog? That first day you stepped on campus and got to Amsoil Arena, maybe it was the move-in or something. Ani, I'll start with you. What do you remember from that first day?
I just remember, I was roommates with Kylie, and we had skins and sods in our little apartment. and we're unpacking our stuff, and then all of a sudden we get this text message like, hey, we got captain's practice, like if you can come. And we're like, oh, like we gotta go, so we just dropped all our stuff and we went to skate. And just like stepping on that ice with the Bulldog gear, I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And it just doesn't get old, you know, putting on that gear every single day is like, it still brings me back to when I first stepped on the ice then. And then I think we got a nice dinner after we got to unpack everything, but that's what I remember.
Yeah, mine's pretty similar. That just gave me chills that you said that. But yeah, we were unpacking, we dropped everything, ran to the rink, and we put it all on. And I remember looking around and I was like, wow, this is the coolest thing ever. Just like everyone matching gear and everything. I think some of it felt a little funny. It was a little big or whatnot, but
it's tough to
we
break
got
in.
used to it. And I also remember saying goodbye to my parents was not as hard as it would have been because we were so busy that we were just running around the whole time that it was like, okay, bye. And then we ran off to do something. But I think it would have been a lot harder if we weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
So you two were roommates. What was your first impressions of each other? Did you know each other before you got here? Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Twin Cities hockey players.
Yeah.
Y'all knew each other already. You said your roommates were Emma Soderberg and Kylie Skinner?
Yeah, Kylie, yep.
Kylie Skinner. What was your first impressions of Sodes and Skinner? Did you know Skinner had the rapping skills? At that time,
I don't even
when you got
remember
there?
like first meeting them, but like when I met Skins, I was like, wow, like she became one of my best friends, but we just got along so well and we were interested in a lot of the same like weird stuff, I guess. I don't know. Like we're both very into like our fitness and nutrition and bodybuilder YouTube videos and stuff like that. So we just bonded over that. And Sodes was just so open and we loved her. We still love her accent. But yeah, we have made so many good memories in Oakland as a group of 4, and then all of the freshmen there was so fun.
I was gonna say Skins, the legend of the podcast. We got her on here to finally wrap before the end of her college career. That was a goal of our original producer, Sam Erkela, to get. So you didn't know about her rapping skills when you first met her, huh?
Not when I first met her, but...
No. All right. That took a what is that, Bulldog Idol or whatever for those to come out?
Yeah.
Rookie Idol.
Rookie Idol?
That's
There
what
we
it
go.
is.
All right. We're going to close out the podcast with that. Ani and Kylie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys for having us.
You can find the Bulldog Insider Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe and rate us. For more Bulldog hockey coverage, visit therinklive.com and DuluthNewstribune.com. Zach, what does the TV coverage look like for this weekend?
The women go on the road to take on St. Thomas. We don't have either of those games on My 9 Sports, but I do encourage you to try to find a way to watch them. Not only are the women on a 4-game winning streak, but Gabby Watch is at 1. Gabby Hughes going for the 200th point. We all wish she could have got it this past weekend against Bemidji at home, but I have faith that she'll get it Friday at St. Thomas. So find a way to watch that one. I think they're both on Big Ten Plus, which requires a subscription, but Friday is must-see TV for the women's team for that reason, especially. And then we'll have both men's games on the road against North Dakota with the away broadcast team, 7 o'clock Friday, 6 o'clock Saturday from Grand Forks.
Not the best feed coming out of St. Thomas there, but it is better than Ohio State. So
yeah, it'll be worth it. I think I've got to find a way to tune in on Friday night just to see that moment. Only 7 players.
Saturday, Sunday series.
Oh, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, so I'll do it Saturday. But only 7 players before Gabby have hit 200 in a UMD uniform. So it's pretty rare stuff that she's going to be going for this weekend.
Thanks to our sponsor, Essentia Health, for their continued support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast. And thanks to all of you for listening each week.